How can you as an e-commerce brand owner build your own in-house marketing team? Do you wish you just stopped wasting thousands of dollars a year on agencies that just end up burning you and can't actually deliver on the services that they promise they're gonna do? And look, I'm saying that it's a little bit counterintuitive. I'm an agency owner myself. I own paidadvertising.com and I've been running e-commerce brands paid advertising side of their businesses for over 3 years now. But I also know that this is not for everyone. There are certain brands where it makes sense to bring marketing in-house. And I want to talk in this video for what brands does it make sense to bring marketing in-house? How should you go about doing so in-house? What does the team structure should look like? What should you be aware of? And last but not least, mistakes to not recreate. So let's get straight into it. For what type of brand should you think about bringing marketing in-house? Well, usually that's for a brand that's making quite a lot of money already. So with that being said, I made a video a couple of months back, it's already been a while, about the 4 stages of e-commerce paid advertising. And just to remind you, those are the 4 stages. Stage 1 is about doing the ads yourself. You don't have any money. You just get started with your brand. You have no money, so you need to run your own ads. That's stage 1. Stage 2 is you starting to make some money. You're making $25,000, $30,000, $40,000, $50,000 a month and more. And you've got the money now to spend on an agency. So therefore you hire an agency to help grow your brand. But once you get to a point where you're making about $500,000 to $1 million a month, probably starts to make sense for you to want to bring it in-house. Because the cost of an agency, because most agencies usually are going to charge you a percentage of spend, percentage of revenue, percentage of ROAS, percentage of profit, whatever that is. You might think about bringing it in-house at this point because you want more control over branding at scale and you want to have a team that makes it congruent with all of your other departments. So it'd be just super easy for you to have these people in-house where you can just go to every day and like, hey, make me this ad, launch this promo, do this and do that. It's much easier if you have a team only working for you. And I get that. I can't be against it. I can't beat myself against that fact as an agency owner. And not only that, I've actually embraced it. We're now helping e-commerce brands build their own marketing in-house teams and accompanying them within that process. So what does it look like exactly? Well, first and foremost, you got to think about your marketing team as a pod, right? And when you first bring that in-house, you usually need no more than 2 people to build that pod. And that's where I see a lot of brands go wrong. I've made a video in March where I talked about one of our clients who did bring marketing in-house. It did not work, so they quit on the idea and came back to work with us. And that was honestly a first for me, and I think the client was a bit of an ego hit also when that ended up happening because they thought they were making a good move, but it just did not work. But realistically speaking, I think there's clear mistakes that they've made that they can learn from and do it again in the future. So what are these mistakes and how should have they attacked this switch? Well, first things first, they did it very rapidly. So we were their marketing agency for almost a year before they ended up deciding to hire in-house. They hired somebody within a week or 2. And by the end of the month, essentially, we parted ways so that they would just go off and run ads with that person. That's the first thing. There was barely a time for transition when that ended up happening. Second thing, that person came from a traditional background. That person was a media buyer for a local agency that they just ended up hiring, and they thought that person would be able to run everything within their business, to run the ads, to help with their emails, to basically one person to do all their marketing. That too failed. They had to keep an email marketing team finally because that person just had so much to handle that was not feasible to do email marketing at the same time as handling paid ads. And on the paid ad side, for some reason, the client was baffled because their results were just plummeting. And that's because the person wasn't qualified for the role. The person was a traditional media buyer, again, from one of these regular local agencies that, if we're being quite honest, any local, non-remote / non-e-commerce focused agency doesn't know what they're doing. It's a lot of marketing grads that they hire that just, again, they're super young, they're inexperienced, and they're getting thrown in front of ad accounts where those ad accounts spend so much money that any little tweaks you make to them, it's like doesn't really make that much of a difference. So they're like playing on a sandbox essentially with these big accounts. And now that person was hired into a business that had a lot of momentum and needed support in order to scale. But that momentum broke as soon as they brought that person in. So some of the mistakes that they've made is, well, first of all, they put all the pressure on one person. Let's just get to the facts right now. One person can't run your entire marketing. They can't run all of your emails, all of your ads, and also help with organic. It's just impossible. Second thing, don't do it too fast. If you're making that transition, make sure you have a great team. Don't ever put yourself in a position where you might jeopardize your ad results for making a rash decision. And that's the same thing for me as an agency owner, right? The biggest thing is whenever we have a media buyer leaves. A media buyer is a key role at a marketing agency like ours. Whenever that person leaves the agency, we got to make sure that there is a period of time where they just don't leave instantly and then there's nobody taking care of the account for a couple of days. That would mean all hell would break loose, right? So we make sure that there's an enough overlap period between these two roles to ensure that there's a smooth transition. Now, I said earlier you need to build a pod. What is a pod? How do you scale a pod? And who's within that pod? So let's get into it. A marketing pod would be, and I'm going to talk specifically for paid advertising in this video. If you want to bring in-house a paid social team, you need at least 2 people. You need a creative specialist and you need an editor. So you might notice, Justin, you haven't spoken about a media buyer. Why don't I need a media buyer? Well, I'm going to tell you why in the next couple of minutes. So a creative specialist role is the one primarily of a strategist. They oversee the creative strategy, the types of videos and assets that they're going to need from your internal or external photo and video studio, right? Whoever's shooting all your assets, they're going to have control over that. Second thing is that person's also going to oversee all of the ads that you launch, building the concepts, making sure they're fundamentally sound, making sure that they're tracking performances and creating iterations based on those. That's a strategist. Now, that person in itself will have more than enough time and the capacity and knowledge to do your media buying. Nowadays, you've seen my recent videos. We're actually leveraging 2 primary types of campaigns at the agency. If you're looking at both Meta and TikTok, so Meta specifically, we're leveraging a broad and DCT kind of method on one side of the coin. On the other side of the same coin, we're using Advantage Plus campaigns. Facebook recommends that you go broader. Facebook recommends that you simplify your campaign structure. Therefore, if we're being completely honest, there's less and less work being done at the ad level or at the media buying level, I should say. Most of the work is left at the creative side. So somebody in-house that only has you as a brand or business to handle the ads for has more than enough time, even at scale, to handle both the creative and the media buying side of things. Now, with that said, you're also going to need an editor. That editor is simple. It's somebody who's going to edit all of your ad creatives. That will be given by the creative specialist. So the creative specialist's job is going to be to coordinate the marketing strategy and the creative side of things, because that's pretty much where most of the work is going to be put in anyways. Then you're going to be forwarding that to the editor who's actually going to take action on it, who's going to be the one editing all of these assets, making videos, making GIFs, animations, putting text on your photos, etc. Now at scale, how do you scale one of these pods? One of the first things you'll want to start scaling is the amount of editors that you have. You're probably going to start getting more editors because you're going to be requesting more creative output out of your team based on your ad spend level. So that's going to be the first thing. Then at some point, it will probably start to make sense for you to build a second pod within your e-commerce brand, for you to have 2 creative specialists with 2 or more editors. Usually 1 creative specialist can handle at the very, I would say like maximum, probably 3 editors or so under them. Like that's probably like a very maximum. So meaning you have 1 creative specialist, you just start getting more editors under them that can feed more creatives based on the request sent from your specialist. And then from there, you can build a second pod as you start scaling. But now you might ask yourself, Justin, how would I manage this second pod? Now I got 2 pods to manage. Isn't that a lot of people? Well, that's where you promote one of your creative specialists. You name them senior creative specialist or creative specialist manager or ad manager, whatever you want to name that person. And then they start looking into your pods and then into basically your entire ad department. This is how you slowly start building and scaling an ad department in-house. And now I already see a big question mark in your eyes. Isn't that going to cost me a lot? Isn't that going to be a lot more costly than working with an agency? The truth is, it doesn't have to be. You can actually get very, very solid and good talent that is trained for that for a third of the cost than what you would pay a local employee. And this is actually why we've built Ad Engine. After working with a lot of e-commerce brands, worked with over 60 clients in the last 3 years, the main reason now where most of these brands are leaving is to take marketing in-house. We had no way of helping them, but we've realized that, hey, we're pretty good at this. We've got a kick-ass team at paidadvertising.com that can keep delivering results for our clients. Why can't we franchise our model and help brands build off of the existing model, infrastructure, marketing fundamentals, SOPs, tactics, and hiring systems that we have at the agency to help them leave the agency with a much stronger team that is going to be a key asset if they want to keep growing their business or even sell it in the future. And that's exactly what we've built. We've built Ad Engine, which essentially is the engine to help you run your ads. It's the engine that's going to take care of all your advertising growth internally. So with that being said, this is a new beta program that we've launched at paidadvertising.com that is only available for 10 people in the next 60 days, which will help them build their own in-house marketing pod, hire and train all of your team members, give you the structure to scale, to onboard, and to properly manage this team. And last but not least, oversee the growth of each and every single one of the team members that are going to help you onboard within your team. That's all the whilst helping you maintain performance and have a smooth transition within that time period. If that sounds of any interest to you, then I invite you to click one of the links down below to actually check out Ad Engine. It's on our main website, paidadvertising.com, Ad Engine, check it out and book in a call to speak with our team. Right before so on the page, if you really want to learn more about exactly what you're going to get with that or what you could get with that engine, there's a 30-minute video that walks you through the entire thing. So again, check it out. This is a build and release program mixed with Done For You, which basically mix both to help you make that switch. So basically high-level consulting, if you may. So check this out down below, and as always, make sure to check out the other videos on the channel for some more useful e-commerce marketing tips, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Peace.